point out he's a Michigan guy.
I am. Good morning, Mr.
Welcome.
Mayor. Good morning, Council. Let us pray. Lord of all creation, we've gathered here to do the business of our city. Grant us wisdom and discernment, courage in action, and grace to work together in humble service. We pray this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Councilwoman Columba, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Caramba. Here. Councilman DeWitt.
Here.
Councilwoman Carr.
Here.
Mayor Simmons.
Here.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Here.
Councilman Gibson. Councilman Forbes.
Here. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
Our last meeting before the Christmas holiday. We're going to start with public comment on agenda items. Members of the public that would like to speak, please come forward at this time. Morning, Ben.
Good morning, Council. I always wish somebody else would go first, but what the heck. I just heard it on the item dealing with the extension of a sidewalk on, I guess, engage an engineering firm for design services for Maddox Lane. Maddox Lane is a connector between Cockleshell and Paradise Road. It's a curvy little section, spur, and extremely dangerous. There are people walking literally every hour of every day, walking their dogs, just simply out there for just a little exercise. And that area is very dark to begin with, and it's not, I don't know how much the length of it, but if there ever was a need for a connection based strictly on one word, safety, that is the area that needs it really bad. As I say, even at nighttime, people are out walking their animals, and it's extremely dangerous. So I hope that this can proceed, and we look forward to having a complete, what I call a necklace around that entire area, which would connect at, I think, the other end of Cockleshell as well to Shangri-La. So I support this, and I know the people in this area are very supportive of that connection being developed. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Other members of the public that would like to speak? Good morning.
Gentlemen and ladies. My name is Grant Lundberg. I live in Bonita Springs. I am concerned about the same thing as Dan was saying about the walkway on Maddox there, as Pete O'Flynn. When you were running for office, we had walked over the situation back there, and I had showed you that S-turn going in and out between Cockleshell to Paradise. And it is created because of the new buildings, everything, the condos on the corner. And every morning and evening, I'm traveling that night and day. And when you come around there and it's an S-turn, if you're facing heading east, you cannot see them people coming from the west, from east to west, until you get into that S area. And there is so many people with dogs, little kids, with the school now and everything up there. The traffic is getting just as bad. And they're using the traffic form from Carlos Estates, San Carlos Estates, where the arms are in the back there. They're starting to use that more and more and more to exit, to get down on the Shangri-La to get to the school. And it's becoming bigger and bigger, and more safety hazard is just terrible up there now. And that's what I'm looking for, is the safety of our citizens, our neighborhoods, and see if we can't get something going. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Other members of the public that would like to speak? Good morning, Juan.
Good morning, Mayor, board members. My name is Juan Romero, living in Bonita Springs for 30 years. This is the end of the year, and I want to congratulate you for the great job you have been done. It's a beautiful city. Every day I walk in the downtown, and it's magnificent. Lights, clean, safe. So guys, you guys doing a very good job. Thank you for doing that hard work, and then continue to looking for the best for our city. I'm very proud of you and my city and living here in Bonita Springs. Mayor, thank you for coming last night to be with the families and the students from Bonita Middle. We start playing in a beautiful place. Is the new high school. It's another, good thing we have in the city for this year. This is the first year we have high school, and the principal opened the doors for the public and let us use the field for practices for the Bonita Middle School too, and it's going to be our home field down there. So thank you for supporting the programs, sports, of course, soccer. And also, I want to let you know about the conference call we have with our city of, sister city of Isla Mujeres last December 13. It was a very successful meeting. We was talking with the president of the Isla Mujeres and his directors, education, tourism, economy. It was a whole board out there, and we was talking with them by phone, and they was so excited to having business with Bonita Springs. We're talking about interchanging of students, teachers, English, Spanish, going back and forth in between our cities. We're talking about tourism, bringing a lot of American citizens living in the island too. They are interested in coming this way, and then we go out there and do tournament and fishing tournaments and other different activities. We talk about also sports, which is the Mayor's Cup, is the, not sure, it's the 13, 14 consecutive year we are organizing the event, and we are hosting the team from Isla Mujeres next year in 2019, and that brings a bunch of people from up there, and it's going to be economic activity here also in Bonita Springs. Along with the team who they are going to come and play with us over here, they are bringing a cultural group to performing arts here also. So it's that interchange we are talking about when we get the program Sister Cities. It's different aspects and different events and things we are sharing with our sister city. So and then they invite us to visit in the city probably the 1st to the 5th of March. So thank you for supporting and helping, and again, happy holidays and see you next year. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Juan. There you go. El Presidente de Bonita Springs, right there. Other members of the public that would like to speak, please come forward. Okay, I don't see anybody else. Going, gone. Okay, we're going to move now on to the consent agenda. Council, what's your pleasure?
So, second.
Okay, motion to approve and a second. Is there further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeWitt?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Simmons?
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Caramba?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to proclamations and presentations. Darla, if you and your team could come forward with Bike Walk Lee to make a presentation, please.
Thank you. Before I present the presentation, I really want to make a few remarks. I'm Darla Letourneau, and I'm here this morning representing Bike Walk Lee, as well as our 70 partner organizations who advocate for complete streets. It's my great honor today to award the 2018 Complete Streets Champion of the Year Award to Deputy Mayor Peter O'Flynn. This award recognizes his outstanding leadership, vision, and commitment to enhancing the quality of life of Bonita Springs through a complete streets approach. He's really built on the accomplishments that this city has been doing over the last 8 years. In fact, 4 years ago, I was here presenting the city with the 2014 award. Over this entire period, you've been building kind of brick by brick your policy infrastructure for your vision for the city. And that is to be a walkable, bikeable, livable community and recognized as a great place to live, work, and play. The downtown redevelopment project provided a unique opportunity to incorporate Complete Streets into the signature project. And as a result of that project, in 2017, Bonita received national recognition as one of 12 communities across the country doing exemplary Complete Streets work. And now that that's completed, citizens can experience for themselves the benefits of this approach, not only the people who live in Bonita, but throughout the community, and hopefully will clamor for their streets to look like this. In 2015, the council took another bold step to initiate a community-wide effort to develop a new vision for Bonita Beach Road, one that didn't have six laning of the entire road. And while Peter O'Flynn wasn't on council, he was busy working behind the scenes in support of this effort. Both the process and the product of the Bonita Beach Visioning Study were outstanding and is now serving as a blueprint for future improvements. Designing the study as a national competition aimed at attracting consultant teams with world-class reputations and experience was a game changer. It not only benefited your city, but other communities throughout Southwest Florida, and I especially want to thank Mayor Simmons for leading this effort. Since joining the council, Deputy Mayor Flynn has worked tirelessly in concert with the council and staff to build on this. In my view, Peter has this rare combination of talents, a very big picture vision, and the skill set to focus and drive that vision to results. So the first thing that happened, I think, as Peter joined the council was the city had just adopted its bike ped master plan, and he pressed for immediate implementation of the first priority on that plan, which was the West Terry Street project, and then helped get state and federal funding for this project. And then once that was kind of set in, underway, I should say, the next step was to transform the entire 5-mile Terry Street corridor. And again, Peter with staff pursued federal funding for this major project, and hopefully will continue to pursue funding until it becomes a reality.
I think you can count on that.
Good. As we know from Tiger, you have to try 2 or 3 times before you get one of those great awards. So you've taken this building block approach, and each thing builds on the other, and that's really how you have success. And as an advocate for Complete Streets, you know, we really kind of go out there and plant seeds. And I think in Bonita, more than any other city, the seeds found fertile ground. And it's very gratifying to see what's underway and has been underway for almost a decade. I especially want to recognize Peter's outstanding regional efforts on the Bonita Estero Trail project. The idea of connecting Bonita and Estero with a 10-mile trail along the railroad right-of-way has been a pipe dream for decades. Deputy Mayor Flynn, together with Estero Councilman Betos, and with the full support of both councils, began exploratory work on the Bonita Estero Trail project in 2016. Last spring, they led a successful community-wide campaign to take the first step to get this trail on the statewide map. And so now the project is eligible for state funds, and efforts are already underway to get money to do the first step of feasibility and planning. Most officials looking at this project, they would be supportive, but they would be discouraged by all the obstacles. How long it takes, how much money it would cost, all the players that would have to be involved. Peter O'Flynn is one of those rare officials who looks at it as a challenge. And he said, this is important, let's give it a try. And he's invested a great deal of personal time and energy bringing together a broad array of players and resources, from state partners to experts around the country, learning from communities such as Sarasota and their very successful legacy trail that they're now expanding, and bringing together citizens interested in launching an organization to support this trail. If I were to describe Peter in one short sentence, I'd say, Peter gets it, and he gets how to get stuff done. And these are really special gifts that the citizens of Bonita and all of Southwest Florida are lucky to have Peter in such an outstanding leadership role. So thanks to his visionary efforts, and this is still the vision, we aren't there yet, but the citizens of Bonita Springs will have safer streets, more options of getting around town, a trail that will serve present and future Bonitans for generations, and a burnished reputation as a great place to live, work, and play. So we're deeply grateful for his leadership and serving as an inspiration and role model, not only for elected officials and staff, but for advocates throughout Southwest Florida. And finally, I want to thank the mayor and members of this council and staff for staying the course on this decades-long and continuing Complete Streets journey. So with that, I would like to invite Peter down here to give him our trophy, and to invite Bike Weekly. We have Doug Saxton, who's a Steros representative for Bike Weekly, and Sarah Baker, who's also part of Bike Weekly, and she is the chair of your advisory committee.
Great. Very nice, Darla. Thank you.
I guess what I'd like to do and have you come up here too. Anybody else?
The Emmys, the Oscars. You got your speech ready?
I want to know if the bell works.
Yeah.
I want to know if the bell works.
Oh, yeah. No, please.
Exactly. I want.
Sure. Okay.
So, Peter, this is for you, and we really appreciate it. And personally, I want to thank you for being such an inspiration and a great person to work with.
Great job. Oh, I'm sorry. The microphone, I'm sorry, Peter's over there.
Came down in front, that would be a little better for the picture.
Oh, okay.
And I'd also like to recognize the staff, Matt and the city manager, I'm sorry, Arlene and Sean have just been fabulous. And you guys are lucky to have staff as dedicated to Complete Streets and improving Bonita as you have. So thank you.
I just want to say a few words. You know, I'm one person. It's obvious that all the work that Darla recounted is the work of many, many people knit together on a whole bunch of projects. And I just want to single out a few. First is my colleagues on City Council who have unanimously put time and effort and money into this, particularly Mike, who started this a few years ago with the Bike Ped Committee. Our staff, many people don't realize, I was saying the other day, the head of my community association happened to live in Bonita Bay, and said, do you realize that your budget at the city for operations is slightly more than our community association? That's how tiny this budget is. So we have people here, Arlene, Matt, Sean particularly have been involved, but really the entire staff who have really put a tremendous ongoing effort into this, really without a lot of resources. One or two other things I'd like to mention. The quadrant plan, which is Bonita specific, which is intended to solve the traffic issues around the corner, is context specific. Those are the words from the head of FDOT for our area. Those are big words. That means there's no flyover going to occur on Beach Road. We're looking for something that works with the small town charm in Bonita Springs. So I think those are good words to think about a lot of transportation projects around here, how they ought to fit into what we have. Without mentioning, I could mention a whole bunch of people, but I'd like to single out Jim Worcester, who's here, who, as a volunteer, Darla mentioned the funding that we got from the state for Terry Street. That started with Jim Worcester, who called me up one day. I went over his house. He said, Peter, I have all the information here. I want to fill out the application. Jim took the first shot at the entire application, then sat down with Matt, who obviously does a great job, and worked this through. One other person who's not here today is Kat Lachine, who actually donated to us a bunch of property on Terry Street to allow our project. So there's just a lot of people doing a lot of things, and I wanted to say thank you to all of them. So, thank you.
Great job. Ring the bell. All right, it works. Jim, do you have any thoughts? You've been involved with this. Anything you want to say?
This platform's still rolling.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jim Worcester. Deputy Mayor O'Flynn, congratulations once again. No, absolutely. And Darla, thank you for all the great work that you do and your team that you continue to do. That's and I know you will continue to be in touch with us, but it's like I say to my children, just realize here in Bonita Springs, don't make us ask the right questions, just tell us what we need to know. And we look forward to working together, okay? So thank you very much for all of your great work. Okay, we are now going to move on to item 7B, which is recognition of the finance staff on being awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. My goodness. Hello there, Ann. How are
Hello.
you?
Good morning. Ann Wright, Finance Director. The city was recently notified by the Government Finance Officers Association that our comprehensive annual financial report, also referred to as a CAFR, for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2017, receives a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is the highest level of recognition for reporting in governmental accounting. So this is quite an accomplishment for us. But this accomplishment was only possible because of the support that we get throughout the city, senior management, members from other departments that assist the finance team throughout the year and at year end when we have to gather some additional information from everyone. So we greatly appreciate that and appreciate the team spirit that enables us to receive this recognition. I would also like to especially recognize the finance team, some of whom are in the back this morning, and they can just kind of stand and wave. And we appreciate the support from City Council as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ann and team. Thank you so much. Thanks for making us look good. We're now going to move on to agenda item 8, mayor and council member items. Item A is direct staff to engage an engineering firm for design services for Maddox Lane sidewalk extension. Deputy Mayor O'Flynn, and folks, this is green sheet 1812-416. Peter.
Yeah, I think this has actually been well explained by the public who came up and talked about it. You know, this connects Paradise and Cockleshell. It is a very dangerous turn on the north end. And also on the south end, you remember when we had our workshop on capital projects, we had the south end of Cockleshell, that last section, to tie that down towards Shangri-La Road, which would make a very nice loop and a safe loop for walking and biking as well, but it's a sidewalk all through that neighborhood. So I chatted with Matt and Arlene about this, and I thought what make most sense is just to take the next step to get the engineering work done on the top end. It already is done on cockle shell. And then once that's done, we can move forward with respect to construction, assuming we understand what the costs are, et cetera, obvious. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion to approve in a second, council? Yeah, unanimous second to the motion there. Is there further discussion or points to be made? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn,
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba. Aye. Councilman Duet.
Aye.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
8B, a resolution reappointing 3 members to the Board for Land Use Hearings and Adjustments and Zoning Board of Appeals. This is my green sheet, as I guess I'm the head of the herd here for this purpose. Green sheet 1812-419. What we have here, the current zoning board consists of the following people: Russ Wynn from District 2, Roger Brunswick from District 4, Jim Worcester from District 4, Richard Donnelly from District 5, Bob and Serpy from District 1, Larry Kurlander from District 4, and Barbara Craig from District 1. I should clarify that by saying there are 3 members of the zoning board whose terms are set to expire on December 31st, 2018. Those being Richard Donnelly from District 5, Russ Wynn from District 2, and Roger Brunswick from District 4. All 3 desire to be reappointed, and there are no applications on file.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion to approve Richard Donnelly, Russ Wynn, and Roger Brunswick for another term. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Aye.
Councilman Duet.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Great, congratulations, and keep up the great work, team, there. Okay, we're going to move on now to item C, a resolution reappointing 4 members to the local planning agency. This is green sheet 1812-420. The current LPA members consist of Don Calapetro from District 1, Carolyn Gallagher from District 4, Rex Sims, District 3, Jeff Maturo, District 6, Sam Vincent from District 2, Meg Jacobson from District 6, and Linda Schwartz from District 4. There are the terms that are getting ready to expire are Linda Schwartz in District 4, Sam Vincent, District 2, and Don Calapetro in District 1, Rex Sims, District 3. All 4 members have expressed a desire to be reappointed, and there are no other applications on file. Council, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Motion to accept and a second.
Second.
Is there further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Aye.
Councilman Duet.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye, thank you. Okay, moving right along to item D, approve a resolution reappointing members to the Outreach Advisory Committee, green sheet 1812-423. Currently, the members are Chairman Jesse Purdon, Deputy Chairman is Tony Lee, other members are Andres Paz, Orlando Polaris, Lester James, Juan Romero, Michael Robinson, and Mel Brasino. We have 1 vacancy, and there's a name here that I would like to submit for that vacancy. His name is Jean Bouvier, Beauvoir, I think is probably how you say it. I'm not sure if you folks are familiar with him. He's actually a worldwide talent that lives on Stillwell Parkway. Born and raised in Haiti and came to America early on in his life. And Mike Fegon, I'm not sure if you've listened to that complete disc, but he's a rock and roll star. He lives on Stillwell Parkway, as I mentioned. He was quite instrumental in that gate over there on Stillwell for that part of the city. He is just got back from Germany. He's in New York City, He has performed with members of KISS, written songs for KISS, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Seger, the list goes on a mile long.
Has he played with Sinatra?
I don't know about Sinatra and Lady Gaga. I'll have to ask him about that one.
Bennett, maybe.
Yeah. But he is an amazing talent, and for those that came to the first Fiesta, I know a lot of us were there, he sang La Bamba in the performance. We discussed, actually, a New Year's Eve party in the park this year. The timing was just unfortunately too short, so we're going to look at, and he's going to help lead efforts for a concert in the park next New Year's Eve. For those that will be around, mark it on your calendar. So I would like to move his name forward to fill that last vacancy.
Second.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to approve. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Caramba.
Aye.
Councilman DeWitt.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, everybody. Okay, moving right along. An update on the sister city. Last week, we did have a conference call, as Juan mentioned earlier, with the mayor of Isla Mujeres, Carrillo, and his team, his deputy mayor, the equivalent of the Chamber of Commerce Department, Economic Development, and Education. And the discussions focused on just that: tourism, economic development, sports, which Juan mentioned they will have a team coming here in March, later in March, to play in the Mayor's Cup, so that will make it an international tournament. And we had Tiffany Esposito involved with the conversation, who has expressed an interest in going to Mexico. We had John Jenkins with Bonita Springs Utilities. We had a discussion on water. Sounds familiar, right? All too familiar around here. But drinking water, and Bonita Springs Utilities is interested in going to Mexico and figuring out how to help them with any of their water issues and recirculation of water. Terry LeMaine from the Bonita Springs Assistance Office, for some obvious reasons there, to lend assistance to the sister city of Isla Mujeres. The Lions Club and the Rotary Club. And the Rotary Club spoke at length, Rick Perry and his wife, about international scholarships and awards that are available. And they have actually already moved forward with Cancun, who has the International Rotary Club, right, Matt? That's what it is. Isla Mujeres currently does not.
Correct.
So they're going to move in that path to establish a Rotary Club International in Isla Mujeres. So I guess at this point, I wanted to give you that update. We've had 2 discussions now. Our next discussion is scheduled for January 9th. So I just wanted to make sure that council was comfortable, or ask any questions or anything we need to further flush out. We've identified March 1st through the 5th as a travel time to Mexico. They have a festival, an international festival going on at that time. There will be other members of government, a lot of members of the economic development team and other teams there, so they identified that as a good time to go there. If indeed council wants me to go and represent the city, and then, of course, these other entities that are interested in attending would make their arrangements and represent their own organization. And Matt and Arlene, you guys have been on the call. And the meetings, is there anything you'd like to add? I'm sure I probably left out a lot, but.
No, I think you've pretty well covered it. There's been a big focus on the education side, I think, from the folks in Isla Mujeres, as well as through the Rotary folks, and
Right.
potential opportunity there, as well as with the water. And I think you've touched on all the high points.
Okay. Arlene, anything?
I think also the focus, a big focus of Isla Mujeres as well was the education component and teaching English to their folks and Spanish to our folks. They want to cross any kind of cross systems we can help with and assist with. And I understand that the Rotary was moving forward with the permanent establishment of a Rotary there, which would help our Bonita Springs Rotary more easily facilitate assistance to them if there was a joint system in place.
Right, right, no, absolutely. And interestingly enough, although I didn't speak with him about it last night, when I was at the high school, Principal Jeff Estes he may be interested actually in traveling there as well. A lot of his students are Hispanic and Latino, and to further discuss these educational and exchange programs, English to Spanish, Spanish to English. So that's an update. I just want to make sure everybody's comfortable or to ask any questions. Fred?
I'd make a suggestion that you contact the new chairman of the Board of Education, who is actually, I believe she was either born, she has connections back to, I think it's Haiti, I believe.
Okay, will do. Yes, she's from the Lehigh Acres area, I believe, right?
Right.
Okay, okay.
Mayor, I think you presented a very impressive potential delegation, and if we could get that all together, you know, with numerous entities being representative, I think that there certainly is a place for us to have the leader of our council be in there. So if that all comes to fruition, I think that I would support it anyway.
Right, great. Any other questions or comments, or do we need motion, or do we need just a further update, or?
We'll work through with staff and with finance, and if there is a need for any transaction, we'll bring that forward.
Okay, fantastic.
And then what we'll do is during budget time, we'll discuss what further initiatives we'd like with the sister city and any other budget implications with that. During March, the March budget, we'll discuss that, but if there's anything in the interim, we'll bring that forward to you.
Okay, fantastic, great. Thanks, everybody. Now we have item F is an addendum item, discussion on the Big Carlos Bridge project development and environmental PD&E study, Councilwoman Carumba, and this is Green Sheet 1812-426.
I did want to give you my commentary that I presented to the Lee County Commissioner meeting yesterday, because I wanted the council to be fully informed about the issues that I tried to raise. And the last page of that, I know unless you're a figures, a numbers geek, you might not be interested. But first of all, I want to thank people who did outreach for us in engaging the commissioner to ask them to delay their decision on the alternative between the 60-foot fixed bridge and the 24-foot bascule bridge. As you know, this sort of came on, despite what I think the commissioners have said, it came on us unexpectedly. Not that we didn't know it was coming, but it did go. The funding for the bridge went on the MPO list, is my understanding, just a few months ago, not years ago. And that's when we sort of tried to engage it. We've had a discussion on the council since then. And the specific selection was presented on December 3rd, if that's a Tuesday, right before our last meeting. So, and it was announced on November 3rd that they were going to give the specific solution. So we and the council had in my view, a very short time to react. And that's why it turned out that we sent our letter, and I went and spoke there because we didn't have any other mechanism by which we could get our concepts heard. Unfortunately, the decision that was made, in my view, was not a context-specific decision, and I wish I knew that expression because I would have mentioned it at the commission meeting. And I think the points that we made, that once you do what I believe, and I think most financial professionals would say, a conventional financial analysis of the streams of costs that they presented in their project, the difference between the 60-foot bridge and the 24-foot bridge becomes not 80 million as what was presented to the commissioners, but 20 million. And that figure over 75 years is something that can be considered to evaluate a context-specific solution. Unfortunately, that was not persuasive to the Lee County commissioners, and it appears that we're going to go forward with a 60-foot bridge. And we're going to live with that for 75 years, and I'm very disappointed. And again, I appreciate all the help that people gave me at the last minute to try to get our point across. But it does, and I did talk to Arlene a little bit about this, it does point out that it was disappointing that we could not engage the Lee County Commissioners in a more useful way, let me put this. So I again asked the council if we could try to pursue some kind of mechanism by which we have developed appropriate relationships with the Lee County Commissioner, and we understand how they're going to interact with us on issues that are important specifically to Bonita Springs. I know, and Mayor, you've and other council people have taken the forefront to do the political action, and I've always been I typically stay at the background, that's the way I like it. But I do think that we need to develop personal relationships with each and every one of the commissioners, and I would ask the council to do that in a thoughtful and deliberate way. And it was disappointed. And all we were asking was to have a delay in the decision. You know, we weren't saying, even though we supported the 24-foot bridge, we said just give us another month or two so our people who are coming back from the north and our council could husband our forces, so to speak, and have our point made as forcefully as we can. That's the part that was disappointing to me. So maybe a different messenger would have been more effective, but in my view, I don't think so. You know, it was clear that there was thinking that was already solid there. That's why it wasn't delayed, but that's a situation. I did the best I can, and I wasn't successful.
Oh, thank you. Other members of council, thoughts or opinions? Peter?
Yeah, Matt, I know we have enough of our own projects to be involved with, but do you know, or there was a PD&E study done on this, or it's going to be done, or it's
On the
Yeah,
Big Carlos?
yeah.
That's what this is. It's a PD&E study.
Well, what do you mean? That's what this is?
That's they are in a PD&E study. That's
All
the
right,
process.
so there should be more opportunity to comment if they're in the middle of a PD&E or what? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
There will be. They stated that at the commission meeting yesterday, that there'll be a public opportunity to
So they're
comment this
beginning
spring.
the PD&E study?
No, it's sort of at the end of it. This is the problem, because with the selection, now, Matt, you can correct me, but this is what was on the item that was passed. Once they select the preferred alternative, they go into the design phase.
Well, that sounds like the end of a PD&E
It is.
study,
That's what
not we're
that's
in the
what
middle of
is.
it.
And once they do that, even though there's a public hearing, I believe, in January is scheduled, or a town meeting or something like that. But by that time, they've already expended funds in the design phase. So it's basically, I don't see how it could be a done deal unless we can convince them to, you know, throw away whatever design expenses. But the selection was done on the December 3rd meeting at the Tuesday before ours. It's December 3rd,
Fourth.
right?
The
Fourth?
recommendation, I mean, the selection was
Right. The
It's at
final
this point.
decision was yesterday, but the recommendation was at their workshop on that Tuesday.
Right.
So that's only 10 days ago. So when we realized what their selection was, we said, well, wait a minute. And then they presented at the workshop this $80 million differential, and it just didn't seem logical that could be the case. So then when I was able to get their spreadsheet with 75 years of numbers, I mean, and with the help of Ann and our IT staff, and converting that to an Excel spreadsheet, and then I applied, well, you know, present value is anybody who has Finance 101, a stream of numbers is, and comparing two streams of numbers should be done on a present value basis. It was not done. Even though Commissioner Kiker had asked that to be done at the workshop, when they presented the numbers yesterday, they didn't present those numbers at all. I presented them, but you know, they don't know they couldn't follow what I was doing. Besides, we only get 3 minutes, not 5 minutes, so that's the problem. It was something that needed a dialogue and not 3 minutes of commentary. I don't think it would have mattered anyway, but that's why I say we need to get this dialogue way before it gets to this point when they've already gone down certain paths, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I also think council needs to figure out what its view is with respect to that relationship. We have different people rowing in different directions here.
Correct. Yeah, we
Yeah.
need something
And
organized.
that undercuts, in my view, the majority. So, we have work to do, I guess.
Matt, do you have any thoughts on this process, or straightforward, or
No, sir. I
timeframes,
don't.
or, okay. And this isn't anything they had to get in before the end of the year, the calendar year, so to speak?
I'm not aware of any constraining timeframes other than, that they had an ongoing study.
Okay, council, anything else?
Just thanks, Amy.
Yeah, Amy, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 9, which is the second readings and public hearings of the following ordinances, and public comment is allowed.
An ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, extending ordinance number 17-21 pertaining to land development regulations necessary for golf course conversions, extending the temporary moratorium on the processing of any applications for golf course conversions to other uses in the corporate boundaries of Bonita Springs, for the shorter of 1, 6 months, or 2, the enactment of a replacement ordinance, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Hey, Mike?
Good morning. Mike Fegon for the record. Just wanted to inform council that staff is actively working and moving on this item. We do have a public workshop scheduled for January 8th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. in City Hall to engage the public for input on what this ordinance might end up ultimately being. Just want to inform council of that we are moving on this.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Council?
Motion to approve.
Any public comment?
Yep, there's been a motion to approve and second. Okay, public comment at this time? Any members of the public that would like to speak on this? Okay, there's been a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion, council? Roll call, Mike?
Well, I just want to say I'm voting no against the moratorium. I'm not voting no against the, what will be coming forward, so I'm just kind of
Okay.
done with the moratorium, so.
Okay, very good. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Forbes,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba. Aye. Councilman DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
No.
Okay, item B.
An ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, adopting the 2018 5-year capital improvement program annual update, providing for legislative findings, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay,
Again, this is another public hearing.
yes, okay. Council, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion to approve in a second. Is there public comment on this? Okay, seeing none. Council, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carumba. Aye. Councilman DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Flores.
Aye.
Okay, now public comment in general. Members of the public that would like to speak, please come forward. Hi, Kathy McGrath, how are you?
Like I'm the only one, huh?
Well,
Very quiet.
Uh,
Nice, ready for the holidays.
bless you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. For the record, Kathy McGrath. The first thing I want to do is, it's coming the holiday season, so I want to personally say happy holidays to all of you sitting up there, all the staff sitting here and elsewhere, and everyone else in the city. You know, this is the time of year for caring, sharing, and giving, and there's so many organizations helping the less fortunate. But I'm sure we all know somebody close to us in the neighborhood, whatever, who could use a little cheering up. But, you know, not only this time of year, all year long, you know, there are those, because we're fortunate. And the other thing I want to mention, I want to echo Juan Romero's remarks, not only about downtown, about Isla de Mujeres too, but downtown, which is always near and dear to my heart. I drive it all the time I can. Yes, the roundabouts, and you know what? They are working. Sure, certain times of day, Terry Street, They get backed up, but they got backed up with the traffic light too. And people are learning how to navigate. And the library, and I was amazed at the pile of dirt, the Mosaic property, I think it's Oak Creek Preserve. So things are happening downtown, and it's to be proud of. It is. I mean, US 41 is business, and downtown it really has charm and ambience, and all the things that have been done are just positive. And as for East Lydham Harris, I can't think of a better sister city. We've had sister cities before, and they're all wonderful, but we have so much in common with them as far as people, climate, tourism, environmental problems, and so go for it. I think it's wonderful too that the assistant's office, Terry and John Jenkins and all, everyone has something that they can offer to them, so whether it's educational or environment. So, and the last thing I want to mention is I hope everyone had a chance to see the boat parade. Adam Botero did an outstanding job. Yes, I saw you, Mr. Mayor. It was beautiful weather. Mother Nature cooperated. No wind. There were, I think over 35 boats beautifully decorated, and Adam and Rotary did an outstanding job. So anyway, I guess we'll see you all next year. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Other members of the public that would like to speak? Hello, Grant.
Hello. I want to thank you, City Council people, for helping us develop our land property over in Bonita Springs Golf and Country Club. And I'm glad you're staying with some kind of a program, because we have a lot of people over there considering what's going on. And by the agendas that you got lined up for everything, I think things will turn out pretty good the way your decision will be made. And I'm glad that you're looking a little bit forward towards it. And again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Grant. Other members of the public that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to city attorney's items.
The only comment I have is we have a lot of activity on the BG mine litigation, both positive and negative developments. I will wait for Mr. Theriak to give a report to the council on that issue.
Okay, great. Anything else? That's it? Okay, city manager items.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Just a quick update. We continue to work on our FEMA projects and our March deadline, March 10th. We wanted to let you know we're exploring the possibilities if it makes more sense for a mitigation project to request an extension, which we're getting all the information from that we would request that extension from the state. If that is necessary, we'll prepare an agenda item for you all to keep you informed of those particular projects and the cost and what the anticipated finish date would be. We are expediting some of our bid permits that are out there now with our bid processes, but they are all in compliance with the FEMA regulations as well as our own procurement process. Also want to let you know that Chairman Kurlander did have meetings with the City of Naples representatives and also the Village of Estero representatives. Myself, I know that John Dahmer attended both those meetings. I did attend the meeting with the Village of Estero. And he is planning on coming back with the zoning board at our first meeting in January for a presentation on his findings. January 14th, we have scheduled for our first charter review committee. And so during that day, I know that Jackie McCurdy, the chair, we've been reaching out to you to see if you would like an individual meeting with the chair so that she can get your thoughts on the progress and your anticipated goals for the review committee. We will come back to you also on January 16th with an update on the stormwater utility from Stantec. We also hope to have a minor update from the staff-initiated project as well that we're working on. And we've had a Skype call with conference call with DPZ yesterday, and we are working towards the goal of having a public workshop in the first week of February, where that would be an evening meeting so that any of the merchants on 041 could attend, followed by open office hours during the day, and hopefully they can then come and do the presentation to City Council that evening. We're also looking for updates on the Levin lot and also the bamboo property, some more potential feedback for those opportunities too. And we continue to receive feedback. I know the council received an email recently from the public on the form-based code. All of those are being forwarded to DPZ for their consideration in the process. As you recall, the first step is just the thermostat that Galena mentioned, is to get a barometer of where the council is, and so they can zero in on how far we'd like the regulations to go before we go to further steps and any further implementation. With that, Matt, did you have anything else to follow up on? Okay.
Thank you.
And with that, the staff would like to wish everyone a healthy and happy holiday, and we appreciate the opportunity to work for you all and for the citizens, and we look forward to a jam-packed spring season so that we can have as much public participation in all of our workshops. Again, we'll continue with the updates as we get further along with our ear-based amendments, the optional elements, and so we'll have workshop dates for those, but we're trying to participate as much of those as we can in the spring as possible.
Okay, great. Thanks, Arlene. Thanks, Matt.
Question.
Mayor, Fred.
Arlene, one of the things that council, I believe, approved having DPZ look at and get back to us was what to do with that strip east of the drugstore that wanted to go to a commercial type zoning. Where are they at on that?
I will have to check with John Dahmer, but I know that was sent to them to review and provide feedback to us on, and we also have a couple of other different parcels that are adjacent to Bonita Beach Road and Old 41 as well. They're supposed to be giving us feedback on.
I would, maybe overruled by the rest of council, but I would certainly ask them to at least give us their opinion on limiting that only to the strip of narrow, fairly shallow lots to going into what's called a neighborhood in transition and all that.
Fred, I thought we had already decided that.
Yeah.
No, we did.
Yeah.
I said I would like to hear what the professionals think about it. That's all I asked for.
John, any thoughts or comments here?
Already done.
And perhaps we're just reassuring, who knows?
Good morning. Yes, there was a vote. We discussed this property and whether it should be expanded or looked at just as this half block, and council voted for just the half block.
Right.
If council wishes to change your direction, that's fine.
No,
we're very early in the process, but right now the direction is simply for those lots that front on Bonita Beach Road.
I simply asked for what their opinion as professionals are. I didn't ask them to change and come back with a proposal. What do they think? And certainly what it does is it means you're going to have some type of stripped development. If that's what you want,
I think we already voted on it.
Right.
I mean,
Thanks.
asked and answered, and it's done. I don't think we want to change our mind on it. And, to solidify it with a professional, I mean, we've already made the decision. I mean, if we would have wanted to stay the decision to wait on that, but we did. We asked and answered and voted on it.
okay.
And just to provide an update, I know there's an original question. They are very early in this. I don't think there's been any pen to paper in terms of a design. We have discussed this item as well as the list of items that are now on their to-do list. And I get regular emails from one of the property owners that I make sure I forward along so nobody forgets that this is something that needs to be done.
Right, I mean, so, not that you wouldn't anyway, but will you just keep us closely updated?
As soon as we hear something
Sure.
back, I'm more than happy to provide you an update.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Just a
Greg.
quick question, since we're talking about DPZ, and I apologize for not knowing this. I know we have a contract with DPZ to do this, but any of these extra things that we do, are we getting charged extra for this, or is it just a flat fee, hey, we've contracted with you guys, but, because I'm looking at, I mean, we've got a fairly tight budget, and if we keep going back to these guys, hey, can you do this? Can you look at this? Can you look at that? And now that budget has now climbed from whatever to exponentially greater.
So each of the items that we added on to, we brought to council, and we had a not-to-exceed dollar amount for architectural, lack of a better word, advice on changes that would happen to Bonita Beach Road and Old 41 while we're in the interim of preparing the changes. But the contract dollar is capped, and I have to double check with Ann, but I think we were at $35,000 for a not-to-exceed, similar to the same contract we originally had with Tool Design, which we still have in place if necessary if it affects traffic patterns on Beach Road. So at some point in time, if we continue along this path, it might be a consideration of council to look at whether you want to recapture any of those fees as you've done with other professional consultants in the process. But right now, DPZ is not part of that process, but I believe Tool Design is part of that process where there's captured
it's just a concern that if we keep going back to that well, we're going to start pitching some pennies in there sometime or another, unless it's a, you know, like, no offense to Mr. Rooney, but like most of the lawyers and stuff, you pay a flat fee and you get unlimited phone calls unless they have to do research. If it's like that, it's fine. If we get unlimited, but if there's a dollar amount tied to these different things, I mean, I think we should have a vote on it at one point if it starts costing us real money.
Yeah, we have a not to exceed for this particular part of the architectural services, and so if they get to that point within the year, it would be necessary for us to come back to council and approve an additional amount to that.
Greg, I kind of agree with your general sentiment, but I do think, you know, we rely on staff to press.
Oh, I understand.
And
I'm just saying.
I have no doubt they're doing a good job pressing.
Oh, no, I understand. I'm talking about us, like what Mr.
Right.
What
And
Councilman Ford brought up. If
I
it's
do
gonna
want to
cost
read.
something, let's really look at it.
They have been very helpful when we have general questions and
Okay.
ideas.
That's fine. That's great.
They were very insightful with the painting of the city hall. Not that I'd like to. They're very, and there was no additional.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not nickel and diming us either. I'm just saying if it's something in depth that we really need, just, that's all.
And we've approved every one of these ads with the money.
Okay, I understand,
No.
but I'm saying, you know, that may not have been part of what their original concept was, and we're going outside
No, it wasn't, but
that.
each one of these extra things, the Bamboo Village, this and this, every one of them was brought back with a not-to-exceed figure by Arlene.
Okay.
And voted on by council, so.
Amy? I'm sorry, I'm going to make a joke. I agree with what you're saying, but I think we should get Derek to arrange all these contracts with all these consultants, so they have a maximum, and then if they get below, we share it.
Well,
you know. I mean, I think you need to work harder on our other contracts, Derek. You did a great job. We like the way we're working.
What do you think of that,
Mirrored after
Rooney?
yours.
Huh?
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, on the offense comment, I'm like, I don't charge for phone calls, so
Right.
if you haven't been calling me for that reason, don't worry.
I meant prior to this.
I'll call you tomorrow.
When I call you, you know there's trouble.
Yeah, I think the real issue that we face with the consultancy contracts is that we have the Consultants Competitive Negotiation Act. So when we get to the point where we start to run out under the contract, then we have to go back out and look for new consultants. So I think there could be a concern that if you like a particular consultant, you're utilizing that consultant, you overuse that consultant, then you're gonna have to go back through the procurement process again. I mean, that would be the only real comment I have on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fred, anything else on this, or John, council, anything? Okay, we're going to move on to mayor and council member reports. Amy?
I just want to wish everybody a wonderful, happy holiday season here and a good new year, and we'll see you in 2019. And it's been a fun year, and I think next year will even be better.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Greg?
Kind of same thing. Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year. Just confirm we are having a meeting on January 2nd, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure, that's all. And the other thing, on a personal note, oh, I didn't know. I'm coming back January 1st. I just want to know, I'm going to Georgia. So, on a personal note, I just want to let the public know that Station 3 did open up on Monday. The new station's been rebuilt, and it opened up and it's fully functional as of Monday. Not yet, not yet. We're going to do a grand reopening sometime in January, February.
Oh, very good. Thanks,
So,
Greg.
thank you.
Laura?
Again, Merry Christmas to all and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year. Be safe.
Great, thank you. Pete?
Happy holidays to everyone, and I just want to say, great, if it's been 3/4 of a year for Arlene and Matt. Just tremendous job this year. Thank you.
Certainly towards Arlene, that's for sure. Matt, you're doing a great job too, buddy. Mike?
I had somebody bring up that we may have a possibility with the new bridge going in. Obviously, we're not getting the bridge that we want, but if there's a possibility to talk to them about the old bridge, if they can keep the southern section as a fishing pier, that would save us from having to build a fishing pier that we're looking at doing. So they already said no to that.
That was brought up.
Oh, okay.
Somebody brought up at the meeting that they might put a fishing pier. Someone brought up, one of the commissioners brought up in the meeting that they might put a fishing pier under the new bridge. I mean, they have, anyway.
No, but how does that affect the boats, right? They're trying to avoid the,
Well,
I know, the
whatever.
drawbridge.
It was to solve, I mean, some speakers made a real case for fishing, and this was the way to say, oh yeah, we're not going to ignore what you're saying, but They already said they weren't gonna leave the old bridge and do what you're saying. But I
If they
think,
didn't maintain
but
it.
we should be engaging them in all ways, because where the Gulf route, which is the one close, they're gonna move it closer to the Gulf, is going through some sensitive areas, and there was some consideration that they might be able to do some kind of a park under there. I don't know. But this is all talk right now. So if we want to engage that, fine, but I think we really need to engage them with how it's going to affect the entrance to Lover's Key, because that's a concern of mine, and maybe other people too. So we definitely should engage them.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
well,
entrances
both
there.
Lover's Key and the condos there too.
Correct.
And Bayside
And
Park
again,
Pass.
and the council position, the city position, was not that we were just trying to protect the view shed of those, I don't know how many buildings are there, 10 or something. It's because we feel that we have a certain vision, village charm, human scale, and that's right in our comprehensive plan, and that's why it was so troublesome to me. I mean, there were many reasons why we wanted the other one. And it still remains, it's not gonna change. So we'll have to just make sure we're really careful about the rest of the development along Black Island, Big Hickory Island, and Little Hickory Island, so we try to maintain that look, that we, not only the look, but the whole environment along the beach. And we can do that, because that's within our purview, but we can talk to them.
Besides that, just Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. So.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Fred?
Yeah, I want to first wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday, and want to particularly point out that I think those of us that went to the ribbon cutting for the NCH emergency facility, I know I was highly impressed by what all they have in there, and they still have not opened up a couple wings, but it's really a great place, and I think it's a good addition to Bonita Springs. And as I recall from my days on the fire district, there's 85% or thereabouts of the ambulance runs out of Bonita goes south. And of the 85%, probably 85% of the 85% go to the NCH system. So I think it's a valuable addition for Bonita, and allows us to be able to use their facility on an emergency basis quicker than even going to Immokalee Road. Other than that, I just reiterate, wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I do think that both Arlene and Matt have done a stellar job so far.
Right. Well, thanks, everybody, and thanks, team, for a great year. We look forward to an even better year in 2019. The NCH was a nice event, and certainly event on Lover's Key, where State Representative Matt Caldwell was very influential in getting the money there for that project down on Lover's Key. I know that Peter and Amy and others were there. It was a nice ceremony, and that's been years in the making as well. So, you know, we have a lot of projects going on. We have great things. This is a great city, and wishing everybody a happiest of holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy 2019, and thank you, team. I know we're all working hard, and keep up the great work. We are now moving on to the approval of the minutes for November 13th and December 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeWitt.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Okay, public comment. Members of the public that would like to speak at this time, please come forward. Okay, seeing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.